Back to Star Flag Media. Today is April 7th, 2023, and we are leading in today with news from Microsoft in the world of Xbox. Looks like Xbox has been blocking emulators in the retail mode of the Xbox Series X and S. And mainly, it seems like the player that is forcing their hand in this game is Nintendo. So Nintendo is supposedly making Microsoft make sure that the emulators that are in their systems do not work and therefore not infringing on Nintendo's property at the very least. So it looks like yesterday Microsoft made it so that emulators will no longer run on Xbox Series X and S consoles in retail mode, and the reason for that apparently is Nintendo related, with the latest Xbox console emulating titles from the past. Uh, Basically makes it easier for everyone to obtain classic titles that Nintendo is still currently offering on the Switch eShop, as well as their Nintendo Switch Online service through the NES app, SNES, N64, Genesis app, Game Boy Advance. So it potentially can inflict on, well, it absolutely inflicts on Nintendo's copyrights, but also it can damage them financially if those games are readily available outside of their ecosystem, outside of their platforms, and they own the rights to it. They're not seeing a penny from that, and to have Microsoft enabling that access can be a nightmare for them in court. So the best thing for them to do was to pull the plug on those applications that were running in their stores in the retail mode of their system. So because it included emulation of Nintendo's past platforms, it's something that Nintendo would not be happy about. So the ban prevents normal Xbox consoles from running such tools in their retail mode of their system. Here we have an email provided by Microsoft Azure's Elena McKenna that was originally written by an Xbox QA team member. That the big reason for the change is related to legal issues with Nintendo. So the full email reads: Hi there, thanks for getting in touch with us about the recent ban on emulators on Xbox Storefront. We appreciate your interest and concerns. To answer your questions, the primary reason for the ban is related to legal issues with Nintendo. While emulating itself is not illegal, it can be used to play games from consoles that are still under copyright protection without permission, which can create issues with Nintendo and its affiliates. Additionally, we take security seriously, and some emulators require permissions beyond what is typical for an app. This could create potential security risks, as these permissions can be exploited by bad actors to gain access to sensitive information. For these reasons, we have made decisions to ban emulators on the Xbox storefront. So it's not just that Nintendo is forcing their hand, but it seems like also Microsoft realized that this can actually potentially be detrimental to the user experience. You got to remember, a lot of us, when we do digital purchases on these stores, we hold our credit card information, our addresses, our date of births on there, and if someone can find a way to exploit that through an app, it's going to be another nightmare for Microsoft to having all of your information leak out there and bring class action lawsuits. Who knows? Just tons of money on the table for them to lose by just simply having these things stay on there. And again, we would like to believe that in the gaming community, everybody is on the up and up, and we're just here to play games and have fun. But no, at the end of the day, there's always somebody out there trying to exploit us and trying to, gain security background so that they can go ahead and sell that information to people who would find that valuable. The email does continue. We don't seek, however, we understand that many users have dev mode enabled to run legal emulation. We don't seek to remove this ability, as it doesn't grant access to the retail components of the system and is considered safe. Unlike retail emulators, dev mode is limited to a certain functionality and doesn't have system read write functionalities. That said, we are exploring ways to allow safe and legal emulation on Xbox. We are in talks with legitimate emulator developers to bring their software onto our platform while ensuring that all copyright laws and security protocols are followed. We appreciate your understanding and patience as we work through this issue. Our goal is to provide a safe and enjoyable gaming experience for everyone, and we are committed to finding a solution that meets those goals. If you have any further questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out to us. Well, I don't know about you guys, but it does make sense. Nintendo is notorious for going after emulation websites, as we've seen in the past. They have sued successfully. Unlike other companies, Nintendo has a back catalog that goes back, 30 plus years, 40 years now, and they hold copyrights over those and they refresh copyrights and they haven't let any of those really expire. So when you have a Nintendo emulator, for example, an NES emulator, the emulator itself technically may not be under copyright because I believe if correct me in the comments if I am wrong, but I believe the NES registered trademark, or I should say the copyright over the actual hardware, has expired. So you can emulate that. However, the games themselves are still intellectual property held by Nintendo. So allowing these emulators onto the platform will then allow you to play the copyrighted games that Nintendo still owns. Now, in a way, this is not just beneficial for Nintendo, right? Because they're the ones who have the financial backing to be able to make Microsoft move in the direction that they need to for this particular reason. But it also helps out the smaller developers who may have a deal with Nintendo and are getting paid to allow their games to run on Nintendo Switch Online service. There's no way that a lot of these companies can tackle a giant like Microsoft and legally make them do anything without going bankrupt in legal fees alone. It is kind of interesting. It is kind of a big deal. But if you have the development mode on your Xbox Series S or X, it seems like you can still do all of those things because it is within its own little environment, its own sandbox. It doesn't allow you to access, for now that we know of, the retail components of the system, and therefore your information should be safer. So if you have the knowledge on how to download emulators into development mode of the Xbox X and S, then I believe you should be still able to do that. And I now think that this is going to limit the audience by a big margin. There's always going to be the dedicated hardcore gamer out there that knows the ins and outs of the systems and its operating systems and how to access all of those things anyway. But by and large, the general audience probably isn't going to go and try to do anything other than what's available on the storefront, and this will eliminate that issue. Not just an issue for Microsoft, but also for Nintendo. And so, even though it's a little sad, some players are going to be limited. Just interesting to see. And as always, you could always join me here on Twitch. I've got a Mr. Demon One here hitting the chat for the first time, saying "What's up?" So what's up, Mr. Demon One? And you can join me live every day on Twitch to discuss the news, and then also you can follow me here on youtube.com/@starflagmedia and on twitch.tv/starflagmedia. And as always, thank you for joining. Have a good one.